Hello and welcome to the Big G Video Podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about if I could go full-time on YouTube, and I'm also going to talk about the videos I've made this week. Now, in answer to could I go full-time on YouTube? Yes, I could. I think I could go full-time. I've thought this for some time now. Now, a lot of people, their dream is to go full-time on YouTube, just like for some people, their dream is to live in a certain place in the world, and they might move to somewhere they like going on holiday, for example. So in the UK, it's not the best of weather most of the time. So some people think, oh, I'd love to live in Spain. That's where I go on my holiday. And to me, the YouTube thing is very similar to that. So I've worked out I could go full-time, and yet I haven't gone full-time because I have a full-time job and I quite like doing my full-time job. And that also pays more than I would earn with YouTube. But I think if I change things on YouTube, I think I could go full-time. And it comes with a big but. And I can't believe I just said big but there is a really big but. And we're going to talk about that in this episode. So the big problem with going full-time rather than doing this as a either side hustle or hobby or just for fun is I think you have to change what you do. So I've done lots of videos. I've obviously done lots of podcasts. I know what is popular. I know within my videos, within the stuff I cover, what gets the most money because I am a monetized channel. So I know that certain things get more money than others. Now, I've done a whole host of different types of videos, different experiments. I know what works for the audience and what doesn't work for the audience. At the moment, I'm doing what interests me on YouTube. I'm making videos about what I want to do, the way I want to do it, and under my timeline, my agenda. I think if I gave up my full-time job and did YouTube as my full-time job, then I would have to change what I make videos about. Now, I'd have more time to make videos, so that would be a bonus, but I'd have to be chasing that income because I would have lost or given up my full-time job. So I would be tending to make videos about things that I thought would earn me more money. Now you could argue as I got bigger, as I did more videos, as I'm full-time, maybe someone or a company would sponsor me, and maybe they would and I could do more of what I wanted to do, but I don't think that would happen, and it certainly is a risk. I couldn't bank on that happening, so I'd have to assume it wouldn't. Equally, you could argue, well, you could still make what you want because you could have a Patreon or you could have a membership. Now, I've had a membership option for a long time. Yes, I haven't put much effort into it, but only one person joined and then they left, and I suspect they were a YouTube Premium member. So they could join the channel for free and it didn't cost them anything. So I don't think membership for what I do, I'm not big enough for membership, I'm not big enough for Patreon, and what I do is fairly niche, even though the niche is quite wide. So in order for me to go full-time, I really would have to focus on the videos that make the most money. And I know what those are, though I'm not going to talk about them. And it would mean that I can't make videos that I want to. I can't make videos that I'm interested in because I would be making videos that make money. And I think it goes back to the analogy I started with of, oh, we've gone on holiday in Spain. Oh, wouldn't it be great to live here? And then you move there and you find that actually it's not that holiday feel because this is where you live all the time. And those problems that you have in normal everyday life, you have them now because you're not on holiday. I think it would be very much like that. It wouldn't be particularly fun. I wouldn't have a guaranteed income. I'd be doing what drives money rather than what I want. And I wouldn't have the creative freedom that I enjoy now. If I put a video out there and no one likes it, doesn't matter because my income and my family's livelihood isn't dependent upon it. I can do what I want. I can experiment. I can take risks. If I were doing this full time and it was my income, then I couldn't do that. Now, some of you might argue that I'd still enjoy it. It'd be worth sort of taking that approach and then I would get bigger quicker. Well, I don't know if that would be the case either. So I just don't think, for me, it's a viable opportunity to go full time. But what it is for me is an insurance policy. YouTube is something I've always liked doing. I've always liked making videos. It's ultimately my hobby. So my hobby is sort of photography and videography, and YouTube is photography and videography. Well, it's more videography. So I'm effectively filming my hobby and making videos out of it, and it is my hobby, which I enjoy. So if the worst came to the worst and tariffs or whatever chaos has been caused in the world meant that I lost my job, then I have something that I can very easily fall back into, and I can do in the short term or long term. For me, the financial bonus of doing YouTube is it is a backup if the worst happens. I would be quite happy for 6 to 12 months just to do YouTube, and I could tailor my content strategy appropriately if I needed to. But it is a risk, and while I have a very good job, it would be silly for me to give that up. If I didn't have a good full-time job, then yes, it might be the case that I switch and do YouTube full-time. But at the moment, it is nothing but a backup. It is an enjoyable thing I like doing. It is a hobby, and it's going to stay that way unless tragedy strikes and I end up losing my job. I think as well, what people don't appreciate is if you are employed, you are making national insurance contributions, you're paying your taxes, you've got a pension, your employer pays all that. There's other fringe benefits of being employed at a company. You get some form of social interaction. If you go full time, you've got to pay your own taxes, you've got to put into your own pension. You don't have so much social interaction. So let's say on YouTube you earn £1,000 a month, nice easy number. Some of that you're going to have to pay in tax. Some of that you're going to have to put towards a pension. And that means actually you're never going to quite see all of that money that you've made on YouTube because you've got costs. And those are costs even if you're not buying equipment. And you will also lose that social interaction. One of the biggest things with doing YouTube and having a job is a computer. You need a computer. If you are working for someone, they are going to give you a computer. If you're working for a company, they're going to maintain that computer. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about an old creaking laptop or desktop because someone provides that for you. The company you work for provide that for you. That would be another headache of doing YouTube, that you need a computer or a device, I would say, that is good enough for editing. And while I have those, and I have quite a few of them, at some point they're going to break, and I would just need to be buying those sort of things, and there's no one to charge it to other than take it out of your earnings. Potentially, if I did go full-time on YouTube, then it might be the case that people approach me to make social media content for them and other short clips, and I get other jobs from the YouTube channel. But it hasn't ever happened so far. I have had people contact me and say, I want you to make this video, how much would it cost? And when I tell them how much I charge, I don't hear back from them. So I'm not that convinced that that avenue would take off either. And like I say, I'm not convinced that sponsorship would take off. So there we are. I've talked about it. It feels a bit taboo to talk about it, but I have talked about it. Now let's talk about my videos that I made this week. So I quite like the idea of video sales letters. For ages, I've been looking for something where you just use text and it's dynamic and it makes it into a video. I did find something a long time ago, but it was a ridiculous price and it wasn't brilliant, and I wasn't prepared to pay $8 a month subscription for it. So I left it, and then I came across something called Easy VSL, which I've done a review of, and it wasn't great. It had loads of problems and I got a refund for it. And this week, Quick VSL came out, which is by a different company actually. Quick VSL is a really quick way to make video sales letters. And it's basically talking with text and maybe some B-roll. Now there is a market for that, and it's a really quick way to make a video. So I reviewed it. It cost from $29, and obviously you'll need to see the video. but it's a piece of web software. For some people, I think it might be useful. If you are just churning out video after video, it is useful. There is a catch that I'm not going to talk about, because you should watch the video if you're interested in what the catch is. But yeah, I've reviewed that piece of software. That's something I did this week. I was also in Cardiff in the UK, taking part in the Race for Life. So I managed to get some video of that. And I just took a smartphone with a ShiftCam lens, and I recorded Blackmagic camera app at 24 frames per second. It was a really bright sunny day, so I was using a variable ND filter, and I've put that video out this week. And I've also done a review of a really cheap smartphone gimbal tripod thing, although it's not really a gimbal, it's a tripod holder thing. It's utterly cheap. It's a complete copy of a Ulanzi one, but I actually think it's quite good as well. So it's cheap and nasty, but it's great at the same time. So I've included that in a video review I've done. So those are the videos I've done this week. Let me know what you think of how things are going. Do you want to see my weekly update videos as shorts as I were before, or are you happy to listen to it in a podcast? Anyway, let me know. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.